Hello, friends, and welcome to the season premiere of TXN Sports World NFL Saturday. I am your host Anthony Florio, joined by good old MF Michael Fletcher. We may be possibly awaiting the presence of Michael Bullock. I don't know. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll have him with us Monday night for Ridiculously Raw. But oh my, what else is there to say that hasn't been said already? Um, the road to Super Bowl 57 officially began this past Thursday night on NBC. The opening night game as your reigning, defending, undisputed Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams opened defense of their Super Bowl championship at home against my Buffalo Bills from SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. It was the Tony and Mikey game of the week. We had a good feeling that this was going to be, and rightfully so, because we thought this was going to be, it was going to be a 5-star Shakespearean drama classic because of the body of work of both of these teams. Oh no. The Buffalo Bills have fallen short in enough playoff games in recent years to know the season is long and the opener doesn't mean much in January. They still felt justified in their championship aspirations after going into the Super Bowl champions' home stadium and completely wrecking their banner-raising party on the NFL's opening night. 31-10, the Buffalo Bills take down the LA Rams. Josh Allen passed for 297 yards while accounting for 4 touchdowns. Von Miller had 2 of Buffalo's 7 sacks, and the Bills stamped themselves as a clear contender for the Rams' crown with a 31-10 victory over Los Angeles on Thursday night. Gabriel Davis, Isaiah McKenzie, and Stephon Diggs caught touchdown passes as the 2-time defending AFC East champions began the NFL's 103rd season by overcoming 4 turnovers and running away with a blowout win in the same stadium where the Rams won it all 7 months ago. Allen went 26 for 31 despite 2 interceptions. He also rushed for 56 yards, scrambling for a 4-yard touchdown when he stretched the ball over the line with 13:27 to play. The star quarterback took his share of hits, but he also dished them out and showed off a mean stiff arm, while Buffalo's offense under new coordinator Ken Dorsey largely dominated the champs. The Bills went 9 for 10 on third downs and racked up 413 total yards, eventually pulling away after 3 first-half turnovers kept it close early. Matthew Stafford passed for 240 yards with 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions on a bruising night for the Rams, who lost the season opener and fell below 500 for the first time in Coach Sean McVay's 6 seasons in charge. The Bills' 7 sacks were the most allowed in McVay's tenure with the Rams, who lost 2 starters from last year's offensive line and attempted to replace them internally. Von Miller came through, but he was just one contributor on a night when Buffalo didn't even need to blitz once to keep Stafford in check. Super Bowl MVP Cooper Kupp had 13 catches for 128 yards and a touchdown, but the Rams' night went quickly downhill. Los Angeles could not keep up with Josh Allen's creative playmaking or the Bills' pass rush, and its only major offseason addition on offense, receiver Allen Robinson, had 1 catch on 2 targets. Los Angeles trailed 17-10 after 3 quarters, but Buffalo ran away with 2 lengthy touchdown drives early in the 4th. The Rams even got shut out in the second half, ending a streak of 89 consecutive halves with a point since November 2019. Miller made an immediate impact on in his debut for the Bills, who signed him away from the Rams after he won a ring in his half season in LA. But he was just one part of a defense that yielded only 177 yards before the Rams' final meaningless drive. Aaron Donald made his 99th career sack in the first half, but the 7-time All-Pro had just 2 tackles as the Rams became only the 2nd defending champions in the last 10 years to lose the following season opener. They also lost by the 2nd biggest margin in league history for a Super Bowl winner beginning its next season. Baltimore lost by 22 to Denver in 2013. After falling behind 10-0 despite 2 Bills turnovers LA finally scored on its fourth drive when Cooper Kupp made an exceptional toe-tapping touchdown catch 3 minutes before halftime. After Allen threw his second interception, Matt Gay hit a 57-yard field goal to pull the Rams even at the halftime gun, and Los Angeles never scored again. 31-10. The Buffalo Bills defeat the Los Angeles Rams. And all I can say as a Bills fan is, how can you not be excited? I mean, Bills Mafia's excited. I'm excited, and they proved all the experts right. I mean, I still couldn't believe they did what they did. Just amazing. And well, let's go to the numbers here. Josh Allen, 26 of 31, 297 yards, 3 TDs, 2 picks. And JA-17 also had 56 yards rushing and a touchdown as well. Stephon Diggs, 8 catches, 122 yards and a touchdown. Gabriel Davis picking up right where he left off in that epic playoff game with Kansas City. 4 catches, 88 yards and a touchdown. Isaiah McKenzie had the other receiving touchdown on the night. A solid outing for our new receiver, Jamison Crowder. 3 catches, 28 yards. The defense, like I said, recorded 7 sacks, including 2 for Von Miller. Jordan Phillips had 1.5. AJ Epinesa had 1.5. Boogie Basham had a sack. Gregory Rousseau had a sack. And they also had 3 interceptions on the night as well. And just absolute dominance. And, you know, a lot of the experts have this team going, not only going to the Super Bowl, but also winning it. And if the Buffalo Bills put forth more performances like that through the course of the season, there's absolutely no doubt about it. There is absolutely no doubt about it. This could be the team to beat. And this could be the season that Bills fans have waited forever and a day for. I know I have, after all those hard time seasons. And Matthew Stafford, 3 interceptions, and just absolute dominance by the Buffalo Bills on Thursday night. And I mean, the Rams had their moments as well. They had a couple of sacks. Aaron Donald had them, and they had a couple of picks, but it was not enough. The only bright spot really was Cooper Kupp. Like I said, 13 catches, 128 yards, and a touchdown, picking up right where he left off from his epic season a year ago. And the Bills 1-0, and they will go home next Monday night, September 19th, for their home opener on Monday Night Football, where they will host the Tennessee Titans. And then from there, the Los Angeles Rams, the day before on September 18th, they'll still be at home. They'll be at SoFi Stadium once again, and they will have a chance, without a doubt, at what will without a doubt be a get right game as the Atlanta Falcons come in. So, and they're going to unleash hell on the Falcons. I wouldn't want to be the Atlanta Falcons next week. That's all I'm going to say, because they're going to be hopping mad and all that, especially after they got embarrassed on what should have been a glorious night for them. So, oh man, I don't know what else there is to say except I'm excited. I'm very encouraged, and I've been a long-suffering Bills fan. I had to endure so many losing seasons for so many years, and these last few years have been very encouraging, especially the last 2. But they play more games like they did this past Thursday. This could be the year that me and Bills Mafia have waited forever for, and it's going to be magical. So there isn't much more to say. Good old MF Michael Fletcher, come on in. When the schedule came out, we wanted this one. We had a feeling it was going to be something special, but we did not expect the Buffalo Bills to do what they did. And now, and all I can say, MF, is if this Bills team puts forth more performances like they did on Thursday, this could finally be the year.
It could. No doubt about it. Definitely, Buffalo definitely has proven the critics correct. They've proven them looking like geniuses, and not only that, but if you're the Rams, you got a lot of soul searching between now and the next game. Is what's your identity? Because the way Buffalo dissected you. And the thing was, the game should have been a lot more closer than how the game went out. Because when Buffalo turns the ball over 4 times, where Josh Allen, relatively speaking, had a pedestrian performance, and still you guys got carved up like that. Um, it's a really a damaging to the psyche more than anything else. But at the end of the day, Buffalo needed to handle their business. They did. I know there's a lot of pressure on the Bills to deliver, because of the fact that they are the favorites in the AFC and many people's eyes, the favorites to win the Super Bowl this year. So there's a lot of pressure on Buffalo to deliver these kind of performances. So yeah, they did a really good job. A great way to start the season. Anthony, one down. We got 15 more games to cover tonight, so let's start it.
All right. And that's exactly what we're going to do right here and right now. In case anybody's new to this show, you, what we do is we go through each game and we give our thoughts and of course, back by popular demand, my special set of notes, as you all know, the notes that you all know and love, the ones that I always share with you guys. So
I actually got a few notes this year too, Florio, so get ready.
oh, even better. So all right. So with that being said, let's get into it. The Sunday slate of action for week number 1 of the 2022 NFL season, and we will start it off with the New Orleans Saints squaring off against the Atlanta Falcons from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. And this game will be over on Fox. I want to take a moment here. Unfortunately, I'm trying to access my announcer sheet on my device here, but it's not loading for some odd reason. But I'm hopeful that I'll get it here. So it's definitely going to slow things down, but it is what it is. So here we go. New Orleans Saints, Atlanta Falcons over, and this game, like I said, will be over on Fox. It'll be Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, and Shannon Spake. They will be on the call for that one. And New Orleans opening up as a 5.5-point favorite, and it's very close between these two rivals all time. The series lead favors the Atlanta Falcons 53-52.
I got
And
54 to 52, Anthony.
that counts. That yeah, I think that's a playoff game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, playoff game. We're talking regular season only. So, regular season series wise, 53-52. Atlanta leads New Orleans all time. They split last year. Both teams won on the road, so that means the Saints won in Atlanta 30-20 last year. Matter of fact, the Saints have actually won the last 4 years in a row. They've won four in a row in Atlanta. The Falcons have not beaten the Saints at home since 2017, ironically, by the score of 20-17. How about that? So with that, let's get into it. Saints and Falcons, what to watch for? This is in many ways a second chance game. It's the second time around debut for Saints coach Dennis Allen, who was 8-28 from 2012 to 14 with the Raiders and began his NFL coaching career with 4 seasons as a defensive assistant in Atlanta. It's also the second time around as a starter for Falcons quarterback Marcus Mariota, the number 2 pick in the 2015 draft, who spent 4+ seasons as the starter in Tennessee, completing 62.9% of his passes for 76 touchdowns and 44 interceptions. He will face the number 1 pick of that 2015 draft, Jameis Winston, who is beginning his second season as the starter for the Saints. Bold prediction, wide receiver Michael Thomas will catch at least 4 passes almost 2 years to the day since he injured his ankle against the Buccaneers to start the 2020 season. Thomas's status has been up in the air as he recovers from both his ankle injury and a recent hamstring injury. But if his recent comments are any indication, he's ready to again be one of the game's best receivers. Thomas and Winston have barely had any snaps together, so there's sure to be rust. But watch for Winston to target Thomas early and often. Saints edge rusher Cameron Jordan. By the way, this is the stat to know, by the way. Saints edge rusher Cameron Jordan has 23 career sacks against the Falcons, second most all time against Atlanta. Oh, hold on. Dropped on me. 23 career sacks against the Falcons, second most all time against Atlanta, behind Kevin Green's 28 and a half, since sacks became an official stat in 1982. According to the Elias Sports Bureau research, Jordan's 23 are the most sacks by any active player against a single team. What to know for fantasy? Falcons tight end Kyle Pitts averaged just 0.23 fantasy points per route run against the Saints last season, down nearly 37% from his rate against the rest of the NFL. Betting nugget, the Falcons are 0-6 against the spread in Week 1 over the last 6 years, and they were 0-4 against the spread as home underdogs last season. Furthermore, the Saints have covered in 4 of the last 5 meetings and 15 of the last 23 meetings. The FPI prediction goes with New Orleans, 69.8%, about 70% going with the New Orleans Saints to win this game. And that's exactly where I'm heading in this one. I'm going with the New Orleans Saints to win this game as well. My final score, I believe I had it 21-20. Yeah, that's it. 21-20 knock off the New Orleans Saints and make it 5 years in a row winning in Atlanta. So there isn't much more to say. So MF, the New Orleans Saints and the Atlanta Falcons kicking us off with the Sunday action of this opening week.
All right. New Orleans Saints was 28th on the offense, 15th on the rushing, a league worst 32nd in passing, scoring had 19th, the best in the NFL. Defensively, they were really good. Top 10 defense, 7th overall, 4th against the rush, 14th against the pass, and the 4th best scoring defense in the NFL for the Atlanta Falcons. 29th overall, 31st, second worst on the rush, 16th in the pass, 26th in scoring. Defensively, 26th overall, 27th against the rush, 18th against the pass, 29th in scoring. Basically, you could score them at will. Turnover margin, the Saints were -6, were -7, were +7 last year, where the Falcons were -6. The player to watch for the New Orleans Saints is indeed Michael Thomas. Has not played in more than a year, but is back on track in the home opener in 2019. Thomas set an NFL record in catches in one season with 149. That was when Drew Brees was the starting quarterback and offensive guru Sean Payton was the head coach. Thomas has said that he's eager to prove his best seasons has remained, and regardless of the changes in personnel around him. The player to watch for with the Atlanta Falcons, though, is Marcus Mariota, who has big shoes to fill as he takes over for longtime starting quarterback Matt Ryan. Anthony alluded to that Marcus Mariota was the number 2 overall pick in 2015 by the Tennessee Titans, but he failed to meet up lofty expectation and hasn't started a game since 2019, spending the last 2 years as the backup quarterback for the Raiders. Said he grew a lot during his time. He's eager to take those lessons and put them to use in Atlanta. Mariota's solidly locked in as the starter for now, but don't look now because Desmond Ridder could get a look down the road if the Falcons start to struggle. The key matchup of this game is the offensive line versus the Falcons pass rush. 3-time Pro Bowler Terrion Armstead left New Orleans as in free agency, now belongs to the Miami Dolphins. James Hurst takes over in the key spot after spending on reserve, who filled in both guard and tackle because of injury last year. Hurst, who's coming back from a broken left foot, has to protect the blind side of Jameis Winston. He'll be returning from season-ending knee surgery. Fortunately for the Saints, they'll be ranked up against the Falcons pass rush that was last in the NFL last year, only getting 18 sacks for the season. It is not clear how the Falcons will be able to go after that putrid numbers given the bargain basement spending in free agency. 2021 sack leader Dante Flowers had only 4.5 sacks and was let go after the season. The key injuries to this game is that it's partly the Saints' projected starting lineup is largely healthy, although Paulson Nadalbo has an ankle and missed practice during the week. Thomas with a hamstring and Pete Warner with a groin was limited in practice. As they come back from injuries, Tonquell Smith, a deep threat and one of the Saints' top receivers, missed time with a groin injury. The big question for the Saints is Drake London, their first-round draft pick. He played just one possession in preseason because of an ankle injury. The Falcons plan to wait till the end of the week to determine his playing status. And Darian Hall was the only other concern. As it goes for the game, Anthony, I believe that this is the New Orleans Saints' time. I think a lot of people have been sleeping on the Saints. I think, like I said, last year the Saints had a top 10 defense. I think they'll fluster and frustrate Marcus Mariota. From there, I think Jameis Winston will be very controlled. You still got Alvin Kamara, who's a bona fide stud and one guy that you want to watch in fantasy. Plus, on top of that, Michael Thomas has something to prove. You know he's going to try to break out and show the world that I am back. I am an elite wide receiver. I expect the New Orleans Saints to win this game. And Anthony, I disagree with your little result there. You're talking 21-20. I disagree. I think it's going to be a bigger blowout than that. I got the New Orleans Saints winning this game 31-10. Anthony, back to you.
All right, MF. So let's continue on here with our next matchup, which will feature the Cleveland Browns squaring off against the Carolina Panthers. This game will be over on CBS from Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. Spiro Ditas, Jay Feely, and Aditi Kinkobuela, formerly of the NFL Network. She will be joining Spiro and Jay on the sidelines. Carolina opening up as a 1.5-point favorite. And the series history, as soon as I can find it here. Carolina leads the all-time series 4-2. They last met in 2018 in Cleveland. Cleveland winning 26-20. Last meeting in Charlotte 2014. Carolina won it 17-13. The Cleveland Browns have never won in Charlotte. Both of their wins were at home. So that's the story there. So MF, there's only one storyline when it comes to this game. Baker Mayfield going up against his former team, this time as the new starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers after Sam Darnold was injured.
Yes, and I do believe that Baker Mayfield will definitely want to get after it as well. And he is salivating over those weapons. And on top of that, when you got one of the best running backs in the game in Christian McCaffrey fully healthy, that's a dangerous situation for Carolina, and that could lead them to victory. Obviously, Baker Mayfield's got a big axe to grind as well after getting let go because of the fact that they brought in Deshaun Watson. Even though Watson has been suspended for the first 11 games of the NFL season, you know Baker Mayfield was absolutely furious after hearing the news, thinking that, oh, I'm going to be okay. You know, they'll treat me with the franchise. And no, they turned on him, you know, regardless of the injuries that he was suffering from last season, the inequality of play. And they felt like that Deshaun Watson was a better option, even though we all know Watson's ordeal and problems that he had that entire year. but now he came back to roost, and now they're going to be going and relying on Jacoby Brissett, the former Miami Dolphin and former Indianapolis Colt, as the starting quarterback for that first game. Now, defensively, you still got some very vaunted great guys on the Cleveland Browns defense that could really create some havoc and problems. And offensively, Jacoby Brissett just needs to be a game manager. You got Kareem Hunt. He'll definitely be a major factor in the game as well. And you still also got some of those wide receivers out there. And of course, the running, and of course, some good receiving guys like David Njoku and Jarvis Landry. So we're going to have to see how this plays out. At the end of the day, I kind of feel like Carolina's going to win it because of the home factor more than anything else. Don't get me wrong. I think Jacoby Brissett will do fine, but I think Baker Mayfield is going to use that axe to grind, and he's going to light up the Cleveland Browns. I do expect Carolina to win this game. My final score is 28-23. So, Anthony, it is yours.
Yes, sir. For Cleveland and Carolina, what to watch for? Well, we know what to watch for. It's very low on my list here. I'm trying to find. All right, here we go. What to watch for? Look no further than the battle between Panthers rookie left tackle Ikem Ekwonu and Browns defensive end Myles Garrett. For Carolina quarterback Baker Mayfield to have a chance against his former team, Ekwonu, the 6th pick of the draft, must hold his own against the league's 3rd-ranked player in sacks last season. Bold prediction, Mayfield will turn the ball over twice in the first quarter, but then throw 2 touchdowns in the 4th quarter to give the Panthers a chance for a comeback against his former team in Cleveland. It might take Mayfield, who went 29 and 30 in 59 career starts with the Browns, a little time to settle in. Stat to know, Jacoby Brissett will be the Browns starting quarterback in place of suspended Deshaun Watson. Brissett is 14 and 23 in his career as a starter, but he is looking to win 3 straight starts for the 2nd time in his career, 2019. However, he did lose his only other season opening start in 2019 while with the Indianapolis Colts. What to know for fantasy? Over the past 2 seasons, Panthers receiver Robbie Anderson's target rate is similar when running back Christian McCaffrey is on the field versus off of it. But when the all-pro running back is on the field, Anderson's catch rate spikes from 57.6% to 72.1%. Betting nugget, Carolina went 2-12 both against the spread and outright in its last 14 games of the 2021 season. Overall, the Panthers were 5-12 against the spread last season, tied with the Jacksonville Jaguars for the worst mark in the NFL. FPI prediction, Carolina, 59.4%, going with Carolina. I'm going with Carolina to win this one as well. My final score, 23-20. Carolina knocks off Cleveland. So, just my thought. So with that, we move on to our next matchup, which will be over on Fox here, as it will be the San Francisco 49ers squaring off against the Chicago Bears from Soldier Field in Chicago. This game on Fox, Joe Davis, Daryl Moose Johnston, and Pam Oliver, the new B team for Fox. We'll get to the A team in a little bit, but nonetheless, they'll be on the call for that one. San Francisco opening up as a 6.5-point favorite, and a lot of history with these two going back to the old days. The series history, wow, is actually tied. Both teams, it's 32-32 with a tie. And that one tie was in 1966, a 30-30 tie in Chicago. And the last meeting was last year in Chicago, and San Francisco won that one 33-22. Matter of fact, the 49ers have won the last 2 meetings in Chicago. The Bears haven't beaten the Niners at home since 2016. That was a 26-6 final there. And that's it. So for 49ers and Bears, okay, there it is. All right, San Francisco and Chicago, what to watch for? Quarterbacks, Trey Lance and Justin Fields were taken 8 picks apart in the first round of the 2021 draft. And tomorrow will be the first head-to-head meeting between them. Fields said he doesn't take the 49ers passing on him personally, nor does he believe it adds any motivation for him. The QBs are the main draw in the season opener, but Chicago will be hoping the newly laid turf at Soldier Field doesn't steal the spotlight after becoming a story for all the wrong reasons during the preseason. Bold prediction, Niners defensive end Nick Bosa will post 3 sacks. Bosa had 2 sacks in a Week 8 win against the Bears last year, and though Chicago worked to bolster its offensive line in the offseason, there aren't proven tackles at either spot equipped to slow Bosa. The Bears will undoubtedly throw multiple blockers Bosa's way, but his freedom to flip sides on any given play will give him enough opportunities to get his second career hat trick. Stat to know, San Francisco receiver Deebo Samuel has 11 career rushing touchdowns, including 8 in 2021, for the most by any wide receiver since 1950. He lined up as a running back on 58 plays in 2021, by far the most of any wide receiver. What to know for fantasy? The Lions, the Texans, the Bears. That's your entire list of defenses that allowed more yards per deep pass attempt than the 49ers last season. Chicago receiver Darnell Mooney had multiple deep catches in 7 different games last season, and now has the WR1 role all to himself with Allen Robinson II in Los Angeles. Betting nugget, the Bears were 0-5 against the spread as home underdogs last season and 3-10 against the spread as underdogs overall. FPI likes the San Francisco 49ers, 65.8%, about 66% going with San Francisco. I'm going with San Francisco as well. My final score, I'm going to go 24-13. San Francisco takes care of Chicago at Soldier Field once again. So, not much more to say. MF, San Francisco 49ers, Chicago Bears, Soldier Field on Fox tomorrow.
Yes, indeed. And when it comes to San Francisco, this truly does begin the era of Trey Lance. Trey Lance now the full-time starter for the 49ers, and he goes up against Justin Fields. So the way that this game will break down is basically like they said. The San Francisco 49ers advanced to the NFC Championship game last season, but they believe that they have the playmakers to make another run. The Chicago Bears are starting over with the new general manager and new coach. Though the two teams are far different places, they do have something in common. Both quarterbacks are second-year quarterbacks, with all eyes figured to be on Trey Lance and Justin Fields. Trey is in a good spot as I've been around him, says the head coach of the Niners, Kyle Shanahan. He's confident, has good camps, got as many reps as he could have gotten, and has been in tough situations and some good situations. Now it's time to just go out and play. The 49ers have built around this team after they traded for Trey Lance with the number 3 overall pick in 2021. He's was mostly a backup to Jimmy Garoppolo, but now the Niners have given him the keys to the car for this season, hoping that the athleticism and big playability will finally open up the offense. Meanwhile, now that the Bears have taken some steps forward with new Bears general manager Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus, can stabilize the situation. The former Ohio State quarterback has struggled in the rookie season last year after being traded up with the number 11 pick. He had more interceptions, 10, than touchdown 7, with an unimpressive 73.2 passer rating. The Bears was 6-11 last year and missed the playoffs for the 9th time in 11 seasons. With this and everything else, the main thing is that as long as the Niners protect Trey Lance, the Niners have all the weapons. They still got a good running attack. They still got George Kittle, and they got a vaunted elite wide receiving core with Deebo Samuel leading the way and a defense that was top 10 last year. I believe the 49ers will win the game. I do believe they'll get the job done. It isn't going to be pretty, but I do believe they'll get it. 21-13 is my final score. The Niners win. Anthony, it's yours.
All right, MF. You'll be starting off on the next one here. And it's one of our top games of the week right here. Oh, yeah, we're going to have some fun with this one. This is in our upper echelon of our games this week. I believe we put this as our number 4 game of the week on our end. The Pittsburgh Steelers squaring off against the Cincinnati Bengals from Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati on CBS. Iron Eagle, Charles Davis, Evan Washburn will be on the call for that one. Cincinnati opening up as a 7-point favorite. Series history still very much favors the Pittsburgh Steelers, 65-38, the all-time. However, the Bengals have won the last 3 meetings in this series, including the last 2 years in Cincinnati, especially last year when the Bengals beat down the Steelers 41-10 last year. Steelers have not won in Cincinnati since 2019. That was a 16-10 final. But nonetheless, MF, as we started with you here, it's our number 4 game of the week. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. It's a tale of 2 different teams here. For the Cincinnati Bengals, they're coming off a surprising and out of nowhere AFC championship that none of us saw coming, going all the way to the Super Bowl, nearly winning it before the Rams came back and won it. Whereas for the Pittsburgh Steelers, well, it's life after Ben Roethlisberger. Mitchell Trubisky now has the keys to that car.
Yes, indeed. Last year, the Steelers' offense was 23rd in the NFL, 29th in the rush, 15th in the pass, 21st in scoring, and their defense was 24th in the NFL, 32nd against the rush. You could run on the Pittsburgh Steelers. However, they were the 9th best defense against the pass and 20th in against giving up in points. The Cincinnati Bengals was 13th overall. They were 23rd on the rush, a top 10 because of Joe Burrow, 7th best in passing, and they were tied for 7th in scoring as well. Defensively, there was a little bit of some liabilities as they were the 18th best defense, 5th against the rush. You could not run against this team. However, they were giving up chunk yards, 26th against the pass, 17th against in scoring. Anthony, you alluded to it. The player to watch for the Pittsburgh Steelers is indeed Mitchell Trubisky, the number 2 overall pick from the Chicago Bears in 2017. However, now tries to resurrect his career after spending time with Chicago, then was a backup to Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. But, of course, and the player to watch for the Pittsburgh Steelers, for the Cincinnati Bengals, of course, Joe Burrow, who had a team record of 4,611 yards in 2021, which was bettering Andy Dalton's career record of 4,293. That was back in 2013. Of course, was the catalyst to one of those improbable and impressive runs all the way to the Super Bowl last year. And the key matchup, Anthony, the secondary of Pittsburgh versus the passing offense of Cincinnati. The Bengals boasted the offensive line off the offseason and hoping to better protect Joe Burrow and giving him more time to get to his best wide receiver in the NFL. And we're talking about is wait. Oh, they don't have the stat there. Is it on fantasy? You see, hold on. Jamar Chase. That's the guy I was looking for. Chase, Higgins, and Tyler Boyd to try to get to that receiving core. Of course, the key injuries is Devontae Johnson was limited in practice this week. He's dealing with a left shoulder strain that he suffered during the final preseason game for Pittsburgh. For Cincinnati, Isaiah Prince with an elbow injury, Kareem with a hamstring, and rookie cornerback Cam Tyler Britt with an abdomen. They are all right now on injury reserve. They all will miss the first 4 games of the season. I do believe the Cincinnati Bengals will win this game. I do believe because of the fact of them being at home, and plus there's going to be that defensive thing, but I think it's going to be a lot more closer, and it's going to be a dogfight. I got 24-21, Cincinnati beating Pittsburgh. Anthony, it's yours.
Oh, okay. What to watch for? Cincinnati's revamped offensive line will get a massive test in the season opener. Pittsburgh's defensive front features outside linebacker TJ Watt, last season's Defensive Player of the Year, and a new upgrade with linebacker Miles Jack. After bringing in Lael Collins, Alex Kappa, and Ted Karras, Cincinnati is looking for a massive improvement. It surrendered 55 sacks in the 2021 season, regular season of 2021, which ranked 30th in the NFL. Bold prediction, the Steelers will win the turnover battle. To have a chance against the defending AFC champs, the Steelers must put an emphasis on both taking care of and taking away the football. The secondary has been active throughout camp in intercepting its own quarterbacks, priming it for a big opening weekend against the Bengals' Joe Burrow. Stat to know, Bengals receiver Jamar Chase had the second most receiving yards by a rookie in NFL history, 1,455 last season, trailing only Bill Groman's 1,473 in 1960. What to know for fantasy? Pittsburgh running back Najee Harris averaged under 4 yards a carry last season and was even worse against the Bengals. On 22 carries over 2 games, he had 63 yards, and he failed to gain even 5 yards on 20 of those carries. Betting nugget, Steelers road games are 38, 17, and 1 to the under since 2015. FPI prediction, FPI loves Cincinnati. 78% going with the Cincinnati Bengals to win this game, and I got the Cincinnati Bengals winning this game as well. Close game, absolutely. I'm going to say 23-16, the Cincinnati Bengals knock off the Pittsburgh Steelers in what should be a good one there. All right, so with that being said, we move on to our next matchup as we take it back over to Fox for the Philadelphia Eagles squaring off against the Detroit Lions from Ford Field in Detroit. Adam Amin, Mark Schlereth, Christina Pink, they will be on the call for the Eagles and the Lions. Philadelphia opening up as a 5-point favorite in that one. And the series history between these two, it favors the the regular season series history is tied 16-16, 2 ties. 1954 they played to a 13-13 tie in Detroit, and then in 1984 they played to a 23-23 tie also in Detroit. So there's that. They played in Detroit last year. Philadelphia, easy win, 44-6, snapping a 3-game losing streak to the Lions. Lions' last win was 2019. That was in Philadelphia, 27-24. Their last home win against Philly was 2016, 24-23. So let's get to Eagles and Lions. As soon as I can find it here. All right. There it is. What to watch for? Detroit was embarrassed 44-6 at home during last season's Week 8 matchup with the Eagles, which is certainly in the back of the team's mind. Quarterback Jared Goff even said the Lions owe them one. The Lions offseason saw them add key players on offense, including receiver DJ Shark. But is this a different team? Tomorrow offers Detroit's first real test. There's no more standing outside waiting for the gates to open, man. Lions coach Dan Campbell said, we're going in, and so now there's nowhere to run. Bold prediction, Eagles running back Miles Sanders will score 2 touchdowns. If you don't think that's bold, look at his stat line from last season. 137 carries, 754 yards, and no touchdowns. Not only is he due, but he's running behind one of the best offensive lines in the league, and against the Lions defense that finished 28th against the run in 2021, allowing 135 yards a game. Sanders missed time this summer because of a hamstring injury, but practiced in full this week. Stat to know, Philadelphia quarterback Jalen Hurts completed 77% of his passes in last season's opener, 27 of 35, and a 32-6 win over Atlanta. The best completion percentage by an Eagles quarterback with at least 15 attempts in an opener. What to know for fantasy? Amon-Ra St. Brown was the fantasy darling down the stretch of last season, but the Lions receiver opens this season with healthy teammates and a date with an Eagles defense that ranked second in preventing wide receiver fantasy points in 2021. The betting nugget, the Lions past 11 games in week 1 have gone over the total. Philadelphia, the FPI favorite. FPI likes Philly, 65.8%. That's about 66% going with Philadelphia. I'm going with Philadelphia. My final score, I'm going to say 24-14. Philadelphia takes care of Detroit in Detroit. So not much more to say. MF, your thoughts on Eagles and Lions?
Yeah, I totally agree with everything that you just said. I think it's going to be this is the moment that Jalen Hurts really has to step it up. And there's no more excuses. They gave you one of the best wide receivers in A.J. Brown, picking him off from the Tennessee Titans after basically he was kind of disgruntled. He didn't get really was looking for a contract extension, never really got it. Asked for a trade and then got traded on draft night to Philly. It really shocked us. We all got floored when we heard that he was going to Philly, and now to put him with, of course, with that running attack. Now you got an offensive weapon. There's no more excuses for Jalen Hurts. It's either make or break for this young quarterback. And I kind of feel like this is going to be the moment where they really break out. I think they're going to win this game, Anthony. I totally agree with you. I got the Philadelphia Eagles as well. So let's move on. Next game.
All right, and next up on the docket, well, it's the Zonk game of the week on our end. It's the Indianapolis Colts scoring off against the Houston Texans from NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas. On CBS, Tom McCarthy and Tiki Barber will be on the call for that one. And Indianapolis opening up as a 7-point favorite. Series history between these two, it's a little on the one-sided end of things. Very one-sided. All time, it's all Indianapolis in this one. Indianapolis leads the all-time series, regular season that is, 31-9. 31-9, including the last four. Indianapolis has won the last four. They've swept. They swept last year. They swept the year before. And as a matter of fact, last year, MF, in the two meetings, Indianapolis outscored Houston in both wins by a combined 62-3. 31 to nothing in Houston and 31-3 in Indianapolis. So the Colts have won the last two meetings in Houston, including that 31-0 beatdown last year. Houston's last home win and overall against Indy was 2019. Houston won at home 20-17. MF, let's be realistic. This one's not even going to be close. It's our Zonk game of the week for a reason. Indy, I mean, Houston's a mess. And here we go with Indy. Another year, another new quarterback. This time, Matty Ice coming in.
Yeah, no doubt about it. There's really nothing more to add. You just said it. Uh, Indy is definitely poised for a big run. The one thing that is going to be is you got Jonathan Taylor, who many people's gonna feel like could be the offensive player of the year because of his running attack and everything else. They got some good weapons. They just signed Nelson to a 4-year, $80 million contract. Homie got paid today. So you feel like Quentin Nelson's gonna be really good, happy right now. He's gonna want to play for up to that contract level that Jim Irsay and the boys just hooked him up with. And yeah, there's really nothing more to say. It's gonna be a beat down. Indy is gonna win this one in a laugher. So Florio, is yours.
Absolutely. What to watch for in this one? The Colts, like I said, outscored the Texans 62-3 in two matchups last season, but they have not won a season-opening game since 2013. This matchup will boil down to who can control the trenches, as both teams want to run the ball. The Colts have Jonathan Taylor, who led the NFL in rushing yards, 1,811, and rushing touchdowns, 18 in 2021. While the Texans have supreme belief in fourth-round running back Dameon Pierce. Taylor posted at least 140 rushing yards and a pair of TDs in both games against Houston last season. Bold prediction, Nyheim Hines will be the Colts' leading receiver in the game, a projection based on the Colts' stated intentions to get him an increased number of touches this season. Hines, technically a running back, performed the role of a traditional slot receiver extensively during training camp and figures to be heavily involved as a pass catcher. Stat to know, Houston quarterback Davis Mills had 4 games with 300-plus passing yards last season, most among rookie quarterbacks. What's to know for fantasy? Since 2013, a rookie running back has gotten at least 19 touches in Week 1 9 times. In 8 of those instances, that back either scored or surpassed 125 total yards. Houston's Dameon Pierce finds himself in that spot and saw his average draft position rise as much as any other player during the preseason. Betting Nugget home underdogs in divisional games are 13-2-1 against the spread in week 1 over the last 10 years. FPI prediction, it's all Indy, 72.5%. You could round that up to 73%, but it's all Indy, and I got Indy winning this one as well. My final score, 38-21, Indianapolis all over Houston. So, not much more to say on that one. All right, here we go. Anytime that the New England Patriots and the Miami Dolphins are the number 5 game of the week, that shows you how loaded our slate of games are this week. Normally it would be a little higher up, but this time around, because of our loaded slate, it only comes in at number 5. But still, it's the Buddy Bowl between our own Michael Bullock and good old MF Michael Fletcher, as it will be the New England Patriots squaring off against the Miami Dolphins from Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Florida, on CBS. The legend returns one more time. Greg Gumbel is back, and he returns with his team from last year, Adam Archuleta and AJ Ross. And, well, MF, you're going to like this. Miami opening up as a 3.5-point favorite in this one. And now the series history. We know the history of these two. There's a lot. It's a lengthy history. And even more good news for UMF. Miami leads the all-time series 58-52 in favor of Miami. And the Dolphins have won the last 3 meetings against New England, including the last 2 in Miami. Dolphins won 33-24 last year and 22-12 the year before. New England last won in Miami in 2019, a 43-0 beatdown in 2019. But I think that covers everything. So here we go, Patriots and Dolphins. What to watch for in this one? Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa has never lost to the Patriots in 3 career games, even though he hasn't been particularly impressive in any of those starts, throwing for 456 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. But on the other side of things, Patriots coach Bill Belichick has never lost 4 straight games to the same opponent during his tenure with New England. Bold prediction, former Dolphins wideout Devontae Parker will score a touchdown in his Patriots debut. The Dolphins' number 2 cornerback spot opposite Xavier Howard is a question mark with Byron Jones on the reserve PUP list. And Parker has led the NFL in tight window catches over the last 5 years. Less than 1 yard of separation, according to NFL Next Gen stats. Stat to know, Patriots quarterback Mac Jones lost the 2021 season's opening and closing games to the Dolphins, the only team that beat Jones multiple times during his first NFL regular season. Jones posted a 44.7 total QBR with 2 passing touchdowns and an interception in those contests. What to know for fantasy? Will Tyreek Hill's fast starting ways carry over to Miami? The receivers' top 2 games last season came in the first month, and he scored in each of his first 4 games in the 2020 season. Betting Nugget, the Patriots are 7-8 against the spread as underdogs since Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay. Overall, Bill Belichick is 55-30-1 against the spread as an underdog with the Patriots. FPI, it's not overwhelming, but it's a slight edge to the Miami Dolphins. 51.1% going with Miami, 51% going with Miami. I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins to win this game as well. My final score, I'm going to say 24-20. The Miami Dolphins take down the New England Patriots, beat them for the 4th time in a row. And as we all know, it started 2019, that infamous Week 17 game in Foxborough. And that's the game where the New England Patriots' fortunes changed. And it changed the game damn near forever. Because look what happened in the playoffs. Need I say more? So with all that being said, MF, Buddy Bowl time. I only wish Bullock was here, but he's not. Michael Bullock and Patriots Nation going up against you, Eric Carrier, and the rest of your Dolphin family. A lot of big changes and of course you had the biggest acquisition of them all, acquiring the cheetah, Tyreek Hill from the Kansas City Chiefs. So now, MF, the big question is, what are we going to get that same Tyreek Hill we saw in Kansas City in Miami? That's the big question. So, all right, MF, here we go. Buddy Bowl time. It's Bullock. It's you versus Bullock. Dolphins have won the last three. Can they make it four?
You know what? I have to say, there's a very good chance it could be four because of the fact that if you really looked at this preseason, New England was struggled mightily offensively. They just couldn't get anything going. Even though Tua didn't really get that many opportunities in preseason, he looked amazing. He looked very consistent, had some good performances. You know, very little mistakes. He did get sacked a couple of times, which kind of irked a lot of Dolphin fans. But the first game that he had with Tyreek Hill, first pass, a 55-yard bomb downfield to Tyreek Hill. It led to a Miami Dolphin touchdown, and with Tyreek and with most of the Dolphin starters out there in about one series, which was a full quarter, Tua put up 17 points. That was absolute. That made Dolphin fans salivate and almost get really excited for their prospects. That Miami could actually turn this around. Obviously, look, you know New England's going to be really tough because of the fact that they got a top 10 defense. There's no doubt about it. But Raheem Mostert, Chase Edmonds, that's the running attack of the Miami Dolphins. They still got Myles Gaskin. He actually made the team. He'll be there. And then, of course, the big weapons, Cedric Wilson, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill over the top. Then you got Tua. If Tua's the good game manager like it was during the preseason, I don't see anything that says that the Dolphins does not lose this game. I believe Miami will win it. I do. I have it 24-14. The Miami Dolphins will go 1-0 in this start of the NFL season. They will beat the New England Patriots. So, Anthony, it is yours.
Oh man, it's always hard when we go from an exciting game to another zonk game, and here it is. It's our second to worst game of the week. It's our number 8 game of the week, as it will be the Baltimore Ravens squaring off against the New York Jets from MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, over on CBS. Andrew Catalon, James Lofton, and another new member to the CBS family, Michael Grady. Well, he'll be working with Andrew Catalon and James Lofton. And the Ravens opening up as 6.5-point favorites against the Jets, and the went a little far. The series history between the Ravens and the Jets. As soon as I can find it here, I went a little too far. All right, here we go. Baltimore leads the all-time series 9-2. 9-2 in favor of Baltimore. Their last meeting was 2019. Baltimore won going away 42-21. However, the last meeting in New York, 2016, the Jets actually won 24-16. Ravens' last win in New York was actually all the way back in 2010. It was a 10-9 final, an MF style score. So, MF, yes, this is a zonk game of the week, but there is an interesting storyline here when it comes to the Jets, and that is Zach Wilson is injured. He has not yet been met. He was injured during the preseason. He has not been cleared, and Joe Flacco is going to be starting for the Jets against the team that he led to victory in Super Bowl 47, the Baltimore Ravens.
So, all right. So, I kind of feel like Flacco could do something decent here. It's going to be an interesting performance, but the fact of the matter is this: it's the Jets. I'm not gonna. I mean, there's really nothing more to say here. I don't think they're gonna win the game, Anthony. It it's the Jets. I'm sorry. I like what they did during the draft. I like their moves that they have done, but the thing is that until they get a good quality quarterback, it's the Jets. There's really nothing more to add.
Fair
It's
enough.
yours.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Um, what to watch for? Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson faces the man he succeeded in 2018, Joe Flacco, who is now the Jets' temporary QB1 while Zach Wilson recovers from arthroscopic knee surgery. Jackson could be rusty after not playing in the preseason. His contract negotiations dominated the headlines, but you have to believe his playmaking ability will eventually create problems for the Jets. Flacco has lost 14 of his last 16 starts. The former Super Bowl MVP has defeated every team except the Baltimore Ravens and the Seattle Seahawks. Bold prediction, Baltimore tight end Mark Andrews will set a career high with 150 receiving yards. Jackson is going to rely on his favorite target even more, with receiver Marquise Hollywood Brown getting traded to Arizona and top running back J.K. Dobbins with a knee not being at full strength. The Jets allowed the third most receiving yards to tight ends last season, 1,113, giving up at least 100 to Kyle Pitts, Rob Gronkowski, and Dallas Goedert. Stat to know, Jackson threw 5 touchdown passes in his only other career start against the Jets, Week 15 in 2019, tied for most in a game in his career, and tied for the most in a game in Ravens history. What to know for fantasy? The Jets' defense was bottom 5 in both yards allowed per pass attempt and yards allowed per completion last season, making this a golden opportunity for Ravens receiver Rashad Bateman to pay off the preseason hype that came his way after Brown was traded to Arizona. Betting nugget, Baltimore coach John Harbaugh is 10-4 against the spread in Week 1 games, including 5-1 against the spread over the last 6 seasons. Baltimore, an overwhelming FPI favorite, 73.5%, about 74% going with Baltimore. I'm going with Baltimore as well. 36-17. Baltimore all over the Jets. So not much more to say on that one. And I believe we have now reached our final 1 o'clock game. And this is a game that you would normally see on CBS, but it has been now cross-flexed over to Fox, as it will be the Jacksonville Jaguars squaring off against the newly named Washington Commanders from FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. On Fox, Chris Myers, Robert Smith, and Jennifer Hale will have the call on that one. And the spread favors Washington. Washington opening up as a 3-point favorite. And the series history, it favors... I just had it up here. All right, there it is. Washington leads the all-time series 6-1. Last meeting was 2018 in Jacksonville. The then Washington Redskins won 16-13. Last meeting in Washington, 2014, Washington won 41-10. Washington's won the last 4 meetings in this series. Jacksonville's only win against Washington was back in 2002, a 26-7 win, but that was in Jacksonville. So, not much more to say on this one from the schematics end. So, let's get into this. What to watch for? The quarterback matchup features the number 1 pick in the 2021 draft, Jacksonville's Trevor Lawrence, and the number 2 selection in 2016, Washington's Carson Wentz. But there are questions about both of them. As a rookie, Lawrence threw 12 touchdowns, but turned the ball over 22 times. And we just saw Wentz traded for a second consecutive offseason. What will matter more tomorrow? A new coach for Lawrence and Doug Peterson, or a new start for Wentz in Washington? Bold prediction, Wentz will redeem himself from last season's Week 18 debacle against the Jaguars with 300 passing yards and 2 TD throws. The Jaguars sacked Wentz 6 times and intercepted him once in the 2021 finale when Wentz was playing for the Colts. Even though the Jags' pass rush is expected to be much better this year with the addition of Trayvon Walker and Arden Key, the Commanders' offensive line is pretty good and will keep those guys and Jacksonville's Josh Allen at bay enough for Wentz to beat his former coach, Doug Peterson. Stat to know, the Jaguars had 29 turnovers last season, tied for the second most in the NFL. They were also outscored by 204 points, worst in the NFL and in franchise history, and never scored more than 26 points in a game. What to know for fantasy? Commanders running back Antonio Gibson quietly ranked 8th in opportunities per game last season, rushes and targets, and finds himself in a matchup against a Jags defense that allowed a touchdown on 4.1% of running back carries a season ago, the 6th highest rate. Washington is 1-5 against the spread in September games under coach Ron Rivera, including 0-3 against the spread last season. FPI likes Washington in this one, 61.7%, about 62% going with Washington. I'm going with Washington to win this game as well. I think it's going to be closer than the experts have it, but I think Washington will find a way to get it done. I say Washington wins 27-24. So not much more to say. MF, our final 1 o'clock game of week 1, the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Washington Commanders cross-flexed on Fox.
Yeah, this is gonna be not really the most entertaining games. I'm sorry to say, but I'm gonna go with you on this one. I think Washington will win the game. It's just not gonna be the most interesting matchup. It's just gonna be okay. But yeah, I got Washington as well. So on to the late games.
And our 2 biggest games of the week, MF. Ho, ho, ho. Here we go. We start with our number 3 game of the week, as it will be as we go to the 425 games. Keep in mind, when it comes to double headers, in week 1 and week 18, both networks will have double headers. So this is week 1, both networks have double headers. So we're going to start with the CBS 425 games, and then we'll go to the Fox 425 games. Starting it off, like I said, with our number 3 game of the week, the Kansas City Chiefs squaring off against the Arizona Cardinals from the home of Super Bowl 57 in February of 2023. That is State Farm Stadium, formerly the University of Phoenix Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. And on the call for that one, hello friends, Jim Nance, Tony Romo, and Tracy Wolfson. And the spread favors Kansas City. Kansas City opening up as a 6.5-point favorite. And the series history between these two, it favors the Kansas City Chiefs 9-3 with a tie. That one tie was in their very first meeting, 1970. They played to a 6-6 tie in Kansas City. Last meeting was 2018 in Kansas City. Chiefs won 26-14. Last meeting in Arizona was 2014. Arizona won 17-14. Kansas City's last win in Arizona was 2006. That was a 2020 final. But MF, number 3 game of the week. If not for DeAndre Hopkins getting suspended for 6 games, this easily would have been our number 2 game of the week. But nonetheless, Kansas City and Arizona. But now, earlier we talked about how the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be starting life without Ben Roethlisberger. Now the Kansas City Chiefs have to start life without the heartbeat of their franchise at one time, which was Tyreek Hill. Now they've got Juju Smith-Schuster. They've got Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Will any or both of them make up for the huge void left by the Cheetah?
Well, most likely not. But here's the thing: you still got Patrick Mahomes, you still got Travis Kelsey, and Kelsey is just as much of a wide receiver as he is a tight end, and especially the contributions that he does on the field. And then, of course, you also got a Clyde Edward-Helaire, a very good running back that can get the ball from the backfield too. So no, Kansas City will be fine. They are going to be just as good. Like you said, the problem is with Arizona is, yeah, they got a good defense. They got a really strong defense. Kyler Murray is a good quarterback, but who's he going to throw it to? You lost one of your best wideouts. So in that instance, Chiefs win. I got Kansas City winning this game, Anthony. So it is yours. Kansas City wins.
All right. Now we're good. All right. What to watch for? Both quarterbacks, Arizona's Kyler Murray and Kansas City's Patrick Mahomes, will have favorable matchups tomorrow. Each will be facing a cornerback unit ripe for the picking. The Chiefs' corpse is young. while the Cardinals group is thin on depth and experience, and Mahomes is typically fantastic in September, where his 86.6 total QBR is the best of any player in a calendar month since the metric's debut in 2006. Expect the ball to be thrown a lot. Bold prediction: Chiefs receiver Juju Smith-Schuster will catch 100 yards worth of passes. Mahomes has thrived in 4 career games without Tyreek Hill, throwing 8 touchdowns with no interceptions and compiling a QBR of 78.6. Smith-Schuster is the top candidate among Chiefs wide receivers for a big game after he had a strong training camp. Stat to know: Kyler Murray has 20 career rushing touchdowns, the second most among quarterbacks since he entered the NFL in 2019. Only Buffalo's Josh Allen has more with 23. And the Chiefs allowed 7 such touchdowns to quarterbacks last season, the most in the NFL. What to know for fantasy: Cardinals running back James Conner was the only player with 4 games in the second half of last season with at least 5 catches and a rushing touchdown. Betting nugget: under coach Cliff Kingsbury, the Cardinals are 3-0 against the spread in Week 1 games and 17-7 against the spread in September and October. FPI slightly favoring Kansas City, 54% going with the Chiefs. I'm going with the Chiefs to win as well. High scoring game. I still think it'll be a high scoring game. I'm going to say 34-30. Kansas City holds off Arizona. So, not much more to say. And now we go to our now number 2 game of the week. Also on CBS, the 425 window. The Las Vegas Raiders squaring off against the Los Angeles Chargers from SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. Kevin Harlan, Trent Green, Melanie Collins will be on the call for that one. And the Chargers opening up as 3.5-point favorites. Series history between these two longtime rivals. There it is. It favors the Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders lead the all-time series 66-56 with 2 ties. Both teams split last season. Both teams winning at home. Of course, we all remember what happened the last time they met. We'll address that more in a minute. When they met in LA last year, the Chargers won that one 28-14. The Raiders' last win in LA was the year before, 2020, a 31-26 win. I think that was on a Thursday night, if I remember correctly. But nonetheless, here we go with our number 2 game of the week. What to watch for? The Chargers spent money and resources during the offseason to bolster their defense, trading for pass rusher Khalil Mack and signing cornerback J.C. Jackson and defensive linemen Sebastian Joseph Day, Austin Johnson, and Morgan Fox in free agency. They will find out if their investments paid off against the Raiders' offense they couldn't stop in a critical season-ending moment last year. Las Vegas now has receiver Devontae Adams, and there is a possibility the Chargers will be without Jackson as he recovers from ankle surgery. Bold prediction: Adams will set a career record with 22 targets in his first NFL game with former college teammate Derek Carr. Adams had 123 catches last season, most in NFL history, by a player who then began the following season on a different team. He was targeted 21 times in a Packers loss to the Lions in 2015, so he has seen this kind of volume before. And Carr targeted tight end Darren Waller 19 times in last season's opener. Stat to know: Keenan Allen has 100-plus receiving yards in 3 of the last 4 season openers. What to know for fantasy? Los Angeles quarterback Justin Herbert has averaged 23.3 fantasy points per game in 12 career divisional matchups. He has thrown for more than 310 yards in 3 of 4 games against the Raiders as well, racking up 10 touchdown passes against just 1 interception in the process. Betting nugget: the Chargers' last 9 September games have gone under the total, but their final 6 games last season all went over the total. FPI likes the Chargers in this one, 61% going with the LA Chargers. I'm going with the LA Chargers to win this one as well. I'm going to say final score 31-23. The Los Angeles Chargers knock off the Las Vegas Raiders to open up what's going to be a very exciting season for the AFC West. So, MF, not much more to say. Raiders, Chargers, our number 2 game of the week, and rightfully so. All I can say, Week 18, last year, screaming Anthony Floyer, you heard him in bunches.
Yeah, it was. It was such a unique game, and it was an interesting game to say the very least, because of the fact that, remember, If the game would have ended in a tie, they both would have made the playoffs. Pittsburgh would have been the odd man out. But they decided, but the Chargers made a mistake, called a timeout, let the Raiders get the opportunity to not only get that key first down, but run the clock out enough that it led to a field goal, and the Raiders won the game. Pittsburgh went through, and the Chargers went home. The Chargers have kicked themselves for almost 8 to 9 months since that game. So you know they want to get revenge. So I think the Chargers will. They'll win this game. There's really nothing more to add. Anthony, it's yours.
And now we move on to the Fox. The Fox game, and MF, you'll be leading off on America's Game of the Week. On Fox, the Green Bay Packers squaring off against the Minnesota Vikings from US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The big story during the offseason when it comes to commentary, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are gone. They're not on Fox anymore. They took their talents to the worldwide leader in sports. So now we have a brand new A-team on Fox and taking the place of Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. And this is the same crew that's going to be calling Super Bowl 57. And Super Bowl 57 will be on Fox. Kevin Burkhardt, Greg Olson, Aaron Andrews, Tom Rinaldi. They will be in Minneapolis. And believe it or not, the Vikings are opening up as 1-point favorites. A little surprising there, but all right. We know the history of these two, long-standing rivalry, one of the great rivalries of all time. Green Bay leads the all-time series regular season 63-55 with 3 ties. Last year, both teams split. Both teams won at home, which meant Minnesota won in Minnesota 34-31. Green Bay's last win in Minnesota was 2020, 43-34. So there isn't much more to say except MF. The dawning of a new era on Fox. Buck and Aikman out, Burkhardt and Olsen in as the new A-team, Packers Vikings, America's Game of the Week.
And what a game it's going to be, no doubt about it. With Aaron Rodgers, he's got a young receiving core. Remember, Devontae Adams no longer there. He's now a Las Vegas Raider. How's that gonna stand and everything else? And then of course with Minnesota, Kirk Cousins is the quarterback, Mr. Inconsistent. Some days he's really good, other days not so great. But you got Justin Jefferson, one of the most premier wide receivers in the game. You still got Dalvin Cook, one of the premier running backs in the National Football League, and a pretty good defense. Yes, it might be a 1-point spread, but I think it's going to be just enough to eke out the win. I got the Minnesota Vikings stealing this one, 27-24 from the Green Bay Packers. Anthony, it's yours.
Wow, bold prediction indeed. All right. What to watch for? Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers has lit up the Vikings like no other team in his career. His touchdown to interception ratio against them, 56 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. It's the best for any qualified quarterback against a single opponent in NFL history, according to the Elias Sports Bureau. But his statistical performances have not always led to victories. He is 15-10-1 overall against Minnesota. If the Vikings win tomorrow, Kirk Cousins will become the first quarterback ever to defeat Aaron Rodgers in 3 consecutive games. Bold prediction, the Vikings will end one of Rodgers' most remarkable streaks by picking him off at least once. Rodgers has thrown 38 touchdown passes without an interception against NFC North teams since the start of the 2020 season. According to Elias Sports Bureau research, that's the longest streak of passing touchdowns without an interception in divisional games in NFL history. But he's breaking in a new group of receivers, and timing could be an issue early on. Don't be surprised if ex-Packers edge rusher Zadarius Smith factors into a turnover, whether it's with a quarterback pressure or a tip pass. Stat to know, Cousins has 4 career games with at least 300 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns against the Packers, tied with Drew Brees for the second most by any player versus the Packers all time. Matthew Stafford has the most with 5. What to know for fantasy? How lucky do you feel? Minnesota receiver Adam Thielen has scored north of 22 fantasy points in 4 of his last 8 meetings with the Packers. That said, he has also failed to score even 6 points 3 times against Green Bay over that stretch. Betting nugget, the past 4 meetings between these teams all went over the total. Green Bay is the FPI favorite, 65.3%. With all due respect, MF, I respectfully disagree with you. I got the Green Bay Packers winning this game. My final score, 27-17. The Green Bay Packers defeat the Minnesota Vikings. So, not much more to say there. 3 games left. And our final 425 game, also on Fox, as it will feature the New York Giants squaring off against the Tennessee Titans from the home of this past year's SummerSlam, Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee. Kevin Kugler, Mark Sanchez, and Laura Oakman will be on the call for that one. Tennessee opening up as a 5.5-point favorite. The series history between the Giants and the Titans, even. Another even series. It's tied 6-6. Tennessee won the last meeting in 2018. That was in New York. Tennessee won 17-0. Last meeting in Nashville, 2014. The Giants with a 36-7 beatdown of the Titans. The Titans' last win against the Giants at home, 2006, a 24-21 win. So, not much more to say on that end. What to watch for? Giants defensive coordinator Don Martindale's aggressive blitz packages will test the protection rules for the Titans' offensive line that features 2 new starters. The Titans have spent extra time in protection meetings to prepare the line for Martindale, whose blitz percentage with the Baltimore Ravens was tops in the NFL for 3 seasons before finishing 6th last year. Additionally, Tennessee quarterback Ryan Tannehill and his new group of pass catchers have worked diligently to fine-tune their sight adjustments so they can get quick completions against New York's defense. Bold prediction, Titans running back Derrick Henry will run for 150-plus yards. The King rushed for more than 150 yards in 2 of the first 4 games last season. He's healthy after recovering from a foot injury and faces last season's 25th ranked run defense. The Giants didn't bring in any major reinforcements up front and released starting middle linebacker Blake Martinez just last week. Stat to know, Giants running back Saquon Barkley eclipsed 100 scrimmage yards 20 times in his first 2 seasons in 29 games played. Tied for the second most games in the NFL over that span, but he has more than 100 scrimmage yards just twice in his last 2 seasons in 15 games played. What to know for fantasy? Each of Henry's 14 best fantasy games, PPR, have come in Titans victories. Tennessee is a heavy favorite at home against a Giants team that allowed the 7th most points to opposing running backs last season. Betting nugget, the Giants are 0-5 outright and against the spread in their past 5 Week 1 games, and they are 0-6 against the spread in their past 6 games as an underdog. Tennessee opening up as an overwhelming FPI favorite, 76.2% going with Tennessee. I'm going with Tennessee as well. Maybe a little closer, but I still think Tennessee will win this one. 20-13, Tennessee takes care of the Giants. So, not much more to say here. MF, Giants and Titans rounding out the late games for Week 1.
Yeah, and I also believe that this is going to be the Tennessee Titans victory because of the fact that, look, you got Derrick Henry, you got some good receiving core. Even though I think a lot of people are going to be like, well, Saquon Barkley is going to be a little bit of a difference maker here, I don't believe so. I mean, yeah, Saquon's going to be good. Daniel Jones might have an okay day, but can that offensive line really stand up against that defense of Tennessee? I don't think so. I got Tennessee winning this one, and Anthony, it is yours.
All right, MF, here we go. You'll be starting it off. Sunday Night Football on NBC with an 8:20 kickoff, as it will be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers squaring off against the Dallas Cowboys from AT&T Stadium. Speaking of wrestling events, we go from the home of this year's SummerSlam to the home of this year's WrestleMania. AT&T Stadium, Arlington, Texas, aka Jerry World. And the new Sunday Night Football team that you heard on Thursday night for the Bills and the Rams, they're back once again. Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, and Melissa Stark. Tampa Bay opening up as a 2.5-point favorite. Dallas, however, leads the all-time series regular season 13-5. However, Tampa Bay won, which was the opening night game last year, the opening Thursday night at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. Tampa won it 31-29 in a 5-star Shakespearean drama classic. Last meeting in Dallas, however, Dallas won 27-20. Matter of fact, the Dallas Cowboys have won each of the last 5 meetings. Is that correct? Yeah, 5 meetings. They've won 5 in a row at home against Tampa. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have not won in Dallas. You got to go all the way back to 2001. 2001, the last time the Tampa Bay Buccaneers stole one in Dallas at the old Texas Stadium. That was a final score of 10-6. And since then, it's been all Dallas in Dallas. So not much more to say on the schematics. MF, what a game it was last year in Tampa. Yeah, there was a questionable call at the end, but nonetheless, Tampa Bay won it. But here we go again. Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys going up against the GOAT. Tom Brady, we thought he was retired. Not so fast. Tom Brady back once again.
Yeah, now the question is, how did they try to bounce back, and what did they do? Some of the offensive weapons are gone. Some of the defensive guys are there though, but Dallas, what are they going to bring to the table? This is a make or break for Dak Prescott. This is a make or break for Mike McCarthy. This is a make or break for Ezekiel Elliott and the boys. The expectations are very high, especially in this day and age, and with the NFL and everything else. This is going to be a very interesting game. This is a highly anticipated matchup, to say the very least. And when it's all said and done, normally you would never go against Tom Brady, but the thing is, I don't have a lot of faith in that offensive line, and that's why I believe Dallas is going to steal this. I think Dallas is going to steal this. If this is a bold prediction, then so be it. But I do believe that they will win this game. So at the end of the day, I got the Dallas Cowboys possibly in an upset, knocking off the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 31-28. Anthony, yours.
All right, MF with another bold prediction. Let's see what happens. All right. What to watch for? Buccaneers quarterback Tom Brady will become the first quarterback to start a game at 45 years old. And he does so after leading the NFL in passing yards, 5,316, and passing touchdowns, 43 last season. He has also never lost to the Cowboys, 6-0 all time. The only other quarterback with a minimum of 5 starts to be undefeated against Dallas was his hero growing up, Hall of Famer Joe Montana, 5-0. But the Cowboys have won 6 of their last 9 season openers at home. Bold prediction, Brady will throw for 2 touchdowns. The Bucs will add 2 more on the ground. And Brady will get his first season opening win on the road since 2013. Brady is 15-4 in his career in season openers as a starting quarterback, the 4th best quarterback record in the Super Bowl era for players with a minimum of 5 starts. And several people within the Bucs organization believe that even with his 11-day absence during training camp, he looks ready for another great season. Stat to know, no team played more man coverage than the Cowboys last season at 62%. Dallas returned 7 of its top 9 defensive backs by snaps played from last season. In last season's Week 1 meeting, it allowed Brady to throw 4 touchdowns against its man coverage, but did not allow more than 2 passing touchdowns against man coverage in any other game. What to know for fantasy? Buccaneers receiver Mike Evans has been a fantasy disappointment to start each of the last 3 seasons. Over that stretch of Week 1 games, he has managed just 6 catches and 54 yards total on his 118 routes. Betting nugget, Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott is 15-9-1 against the spread as a regular season underdog, including 5-2-1 against the spread as a home underdog. FPI likes Tampa Bay, 62.5%, about 63% going for Tampa. I'm going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win this game as well. My final score, 31-23, Tampa Bay defeats Dallas. One last game, and it is the season premiere of the 53rd season of Monday Night Football, and this one will be simulcast on both ESPN and ABC. The Denver Broncos squaring off against the Seattle Seahawks from Lumen Field in Seattle, Washington. 8:15 kickoff. New season, new faces. As we know, we have a new broadcast. We have a new A team of Monday Night Football. The long time dynamic duo from Fox, now taking their talents to the worldwide leader in sports. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, and Lisa Salters will be on the call, and I'm pleased to announce, back by popular demand, Peyton and Eli. They're coming back. We get another season of the Mannings, and I know how much MF loves the Manning simulcast. Yes, MF, you will get to see the shenanigans, the hijinks that is the Manning brothers. They will be back on ESPN2 and ESPN Plus. So yes, they're coming back. So with all that being said, Denver opening up as a 6.5-point favorite. Denver leads the all-time series 35-19. Their last meeting was 2018 in Denver. Denver won 27-24. Last meeting in Seattle, it was after Super Bowl 48, and the Seattle Seahawks won that game 26-20 in overtime. Denver has not won in Seattle since 2002. That was a 31-9 beatdown. So with all that being said, our final game of the night. What to watch for? After racking up the most wins over a player's first 10 seasons in NFL history, 113 including the playoffs, former Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson begins the second act of his career with the Broncos. His Denver debut comes against his former team, which traded him in March in one of the biggest blockbusters the league has ever seen. Wilson will be the Broncos' sixth different starting quarterback in their past 6 openers. Bold prediction, Broncos outside linebacker Bradley Chubb will have his first 2-sack game since 2020. He has had his healthiest offseason since his rookie year in 2018 and is poised for a big year. And Randy Gregory's arrival should give Chubb a little more room to work. Chubb has battled injuries in 2 of the last 3 seasons, including 2 ankle surgeries in 2021. He has had just 4 multi-sack games in his career, and just one of those, a 2.5-sack effort against the New York Jets in 2020, has come since his rookie year. Stat to know, Wilson has a 10-3 record with a 769 win percentage on Monday Night Football in his career, the third best by a starting quarterback with 10-plus starts. What to know for fantasy? From 2019 to 2021, Russell Wilson averaged 22.4% more fantasy points per game at home than on the road. But this is a road game in the place he has called home for his entire career. Betting nugget, the Seahawks are 17-7 as home underdogs under Coach Pete Carroll, including 14-3 against the spread when getting at least 3 points. The FPI loves Denver, obviously. Denver, big FPI favorite, 66.7%, about 67% going with Denver. I'm going with the Denver Broncos to win this game. I'm going to say the final score, I think they should win with relative ease. I'm going to say 30-13, the Denver Broncos all over the Seattle Seahawks in our number 6 game of the week. But not much more to say. MF, the dawning of another new era, this time on ESPN's and ABC's Monday Night Football. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman taking their talents to the worldwide leader in sports. And what a doozy they get here, as Russell Wilson will return to Seattle for the first time ever in a visitor's uniform as a Denver Bronco. So
Yes.
MF, take it home.
This is going to be very interesting to watch. This is going to be very interesting to see, to say the very least, as well. Um, I do believe that this is going to be an incredible matchup. And like you said, could this be a dawning of a new era? Well, we'll have to wait and find out. All we know, one thing's for sure, that it's probably going to end up being a big victory here. And I do believe that Denver is going to get it. I just don't have any faith in Seattle. I don't. I just don't. Quarterback wise, I'm a little suspicious about them more than anything else. But I will say this: I'm gonna go with the Denver Broncos to win it. So I really got nothing more to say. Anthony, time to say goodbye.
All right, and that will put the bow on this Week 1 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Saturday. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. We'll be back with you again on Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, right back here on the Tone 25, as it will be as we're back to our normal show, as we will review Monday Night Raw and my latest Tony's take on Impact Wrestling and NXT Level Up. Wednesday night, we got Wednesday Night Madness, hosted by good old MF Michael Fletcher, as it will be our reviews of NXT 2.0 and AEW Dynamite as always. Thursday night, we got TXN Sports World College Football Thursday Week 3, and the theme of this week, if you haven't watched college football today, upsets. Many upsets, including one that really rubbed me the wrong way. You know where I'm going with that. And if they're still ranked, Thursday you're going to hear an earful from me. That's all I'm going to say on that. But the headliner is obviously Miami and Texas A&M, but we have some other games to get into. Now, Friday, we're going to be doing something a little bit different, because next Saturday I have a very special family commitment on my end, and I don't know how long it's going to go, and I don't want to, take any chances with it. So what we're going to do is, for 1 week only, the Cerebral Smack Talk is out, and we're going to have a special Friday edition of NFL Saturday, as we will have our preview of Week 2, and as an added bonus, since this is under the TXN Sports World banner, good old MF Michael Fletcher is going to give you his preview of the Triple G fight that's going down next week. So make note of that. Should only be for this week only, but we'll see. So with that so until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, Anthony Florio, for good old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, Michael Bullock, and always and forever the First Lady Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune Forest style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days, and until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, you've been watching the season premiere of TXN Sports World NFL Saturday right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.